Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the 2022 film The Batman. Now, I did do a non-spoiler review yesterday on the channel, and this is kind of a follow-up to that, but with a bit of a twist. This is just a recording of a conversation I had over Skype with my co-reviewer, The Core. For context, he hasn't seen the film and he wasn't particularly interested, but I wanted to make a point and say it's a good film and it's worth checking out. So, with no spoilers included on this one, here's a conversation we had earlier.
So, yeah, the point of this video anyway, yeah. I don't know if you saw my video that I did yesterday, Core. It was a non-spoiler video, went on for about 20 minutes. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, even without getting into spoilers, and I'm not going to throw any out at you, because obviously you've not seen the film. You said you weren't particularly interested in it, but I would recommend watching it. I seriously would. I think you'd like it, but you would need to be in a kind of space where you can watch a 3-hour film. I think that's more than anything else. It was pretty much like what I expected it to be from the trailer, but there's a lot of stuff in there that they haven't done in a live action Batman film before, and it's good to see them finally doing it. I wouldn't rush out to watch it though. That's not like a bad thing. It's just, I mean, unless you like really wanted to watch it, which I know you didn't, but I would definitely say like give it a chance because it's a good film. And you're missing out basically. But I wouldn't say it's as good as the Dark Knight trilogy. I know some people have said it's better. It's maybe story-wise it's better because it's got a good story going through it that is quite complicated, but not too complicated, and it's not like a rehash of what they did in the Dark Knight, you know, with sort of criminal underworld and all that kind of stuff. And I think
is all I've got to say on the subject.
But I think the depiction of like the sort of criminals in this are a little bit more. You could say sort of kind of like stereotypical. They kind of look like characters that you would see in like The Sopranos or The Godfather or Goodfellas. You know, the typical sort of Italian American thing. But they got some really good performances. Even the Penguin as well is really good. Very different to anything that we've seen.
So you're going to be there for the Penguin TV show?
To be honest, if it was like a one-off special and it wasn't like season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that spins off into Gotham PD and that spins off into a load of others, if I wasn't like committing myself to something that I'm gonna have to like ditch, I probably would give it a go. To be honest, I would definitely torrent that. I mean, I would go on HBO Max or whatever it's going to be on. How do we even get that stuff?
I don't think we can. I'm still pretty sure HBO Max is like locked out in the UK for a couple of years yet.
So how did you watch the Zack Snyder Justice League?
That I got on Amazon.
Right. So maybe they'll do like they'll put like the series on Amazon for the UK or something. I don't know. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Unlike the Topher.
But no, like I say, I know you said you didn't want to watch it, and I'm not like trying to sort of challenge you and give you like, aha, I told you so. But like, there's no like real reason to not watch this, you know, in like it being bad or anything like that. I think some of the reviews have been a little bit generous with it. Like I said, I don't think it was as good as the Dark Knight trilogy, but easy for me to say because I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I'm a big Christian Bale fan. Not specifically a fan of Matt Reeves or Robert Pattinson, but he was pretty good. It was quite interesting as well because in this one, it is a Batman film. You don't really see him as Bruce Wayne much. Seriously, I'd heard that be said, and I thought maybe that was exaggerated a bit, but it really is. It's quite rare you actually see him as Bruce Wayne, in contrast to the amount of seeing him as Batman. And the detective thing as well is definitely like a major part of this. We've seen that in other stuff as well. It's like they've kind of done like nods to it in like some of the other live action ones, where rather than just being a sort of cliche superhero, it's like first and foremost he was a detective. He was in Detective Comics, DC. He really is in this. Like he's like solving sort of puzzles and riddles and stuff. There's some pretty good ones as well. But I won't give any spoilers away. But the Riddler is very different as well, as you probably would have grasped. It kind of reminded me of John Campier a little bit. He was that sort of like man baby kind of person, like kind of like the soy boy thing. I don't want to be like, just for the sake of like throwing buzzwords out there on like a video, but there was definitely that sort of the bit at the end. Again, it's not a spoil, but there's like a bit at the end where it's like a meltdown. He's like, no, no, no. That was very like, Trump's just become president, and John Campier's like having a meltdown on camera kind of thing, which we've seen. It was very similar.
He's just like, they're like, look, I love Catwoman. Don't you dare go insulting Catwoman. And then when the Joker's like insulting Catwoman, he's like, well, how the fuck did you know to insult them? Damn it.
Yeah, well, he did that. Did John Campier? He used to show you how to press his buttons, and then people would then press
amazed, like, well, shit. How come they're pressing my buttons? I don't follow this.
Yeah, but no, it was the Riddler character was really good. It was a new take on it as well. Would have been kind of nice to see a bit more of a traditional Riddler. But then again, we have had that before, like Jim Carrey, I suppose, and Frank Gorshin or John Astin in the TV series, the 60s series. Basically, kind of like a serial killer, like the Zodiac Killer, in a bit of a story that is kind of similar to Seven as well, the David Fincher movie.
Yes.
So if you like that film, kind of not as macabre as that one, but some of the bits in this really are like quite brutal as well. They seem one for kids to watch at all. I mean, even The Dark Knight had its moments, but I could understand like somebody taking like an 8-year-old to watch like the Dark Knight movies. I would have thought they'd be bored shitless at that age. But this, like, seriously, no, I wouldn't.
Well, I'm going to You have extensive insight into this because you have at one point played the Riddler, and you had to come forward and ask people the immortal question: riddle me this. Who looks like a big green twat?
Well, yeah, that was when I was wearing a green jacket. Yeah, that was an old story.
I thought there was a hat as well, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, Buff will remember that one as well, because when Buff wore it, he looked like, for some reason, he looked like an Orthodox Jew, because my mother said he belonged at the Wailing Wall. So
you should have kept that like sports jacket and cap. You could have just put question marks on it, and then you'd have been set for Halloween.
Exactly. See, I was going to say, like, don't ruin this video that, the 10 people that watch it aren't going to understand that reference, but one of the 10 is Buff. So there you go. Yeah, you do right mentioning that car. So yeah, no. What else did I have to say about it? The Batmobile was pretty cool as well. You don't really see it in too good detail because it's quite dark. I mean, most of this film is at night as well. Like the aesthetics of the movie, it's very dark like that. Even like the Tim Burton Batman, there was plenty of stuff happening during the day. But even if it's daytime in this, it's like some kind of like orange sort of sunset that you'll have in the background or something. It's orange and red kind of colours like that, really sort of dialed up. So that's either going to please a lot of people or it's going to like annoy some people. I've heard some fairly negative stuff be said. There's a bit of a controversy going on because a few people have made comments about it's woke because all the bad guys are white basically, and anybody who's black in the film is a good guy. And technically, there is a bit of truth to that, but I think there's a reason for it. I don't, and I'm not like defending it because I like the film, therefore it can't be woke. I think the reason for that is because the majority of the city is white, and the city is like riddled with corruption, and most of the characters in the movie are corrupt or compromised in some way. Catwoman in the comics is black in a lot of them. Even going back to the 60s, we had a black actress playing her from memory, Eartha Kitt. So again, that's not like a new thing. Also, like Commissioner Gordon, it's like, well, Jeffrey Wright's a really good actor. He's in a lot of stuff. So again, they didn't put him being black has like zero relevance to any of the plot or anything. He just happens to be black. And there's like a mayor who is black as well, like one that gets elected. Again, her being black has nothing to do with it. That's not referred to at all. So it wasn't something I thought of. It's something other people have pointed out, and technically yes, but I don't think it was done for that reason. Give them the benefit of the doubt. There was another bit, again, not a spoiler really, but there was a line from Catwoman where she basically says, let's just sort all these white privilege assholes out. And there'll be, it's woke. It's like, no, it's a good line because somebody like her would say that. She's a misguided kind of a villain. I mean, this is early Catwoman. She's clearly a burglar. Are you jerking off? She's clearly a burglar. She's not like the most moral character. She's got her own dodgy sort of set of moral compass calibration. But again, somebody like her would buy into that kind of nonsense. So again, that line being in the film was like perfectly placed. It wasn't like, don't go there. And she was wrong. I mean, she was factually wrong anyway. With some of the stuff that she was talking about. So again, it doesn't. It's not like a bad thing. People are just overanalyzing it, I think. So yeah, when are you gonna go see it, Car?
I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm just winding you up. But it's like I say,
I'll see it, but I'm not seeing it in the cinema. I can't be bothered with that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I recommended watching The Joker, and I didn't even really like The Joker. To be fair, I thought it was like
I've not got around to watching The Joker either.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, definitely give this a watch. Maybe give The Joker a watch because it's interesting. But yeah, it's bullshit. It wasn't a Joker movie. They just repackaged it to get more bums on seats because a King of Comedy remake wasn't really going to attract that many people to it. A few little rewrites here and there. You've got yourself a Joker movie, and people bought it and thought that this is the Joker. It's not. But this is a good film. This is Batman, and it's not really. I say it's not really like any of the other films. It's like all of them. It's like all of the best stuff. There is a bit of the Tim Burton Batman stuff in there, particularly with like Gotham City as well. It feels more like the 1989 Gotham City in a lot of ways. And then you've got a lot of the sort of real world grounded stuff with the Dark Knight trilogy. But then there's also a lot of the animated series like kind of feel to it as well. And there are a lot of the villains like thrown into this as well, whether it's just kind of like nods to them or like vague appearances that come up here and there. This is very heavy on the, the rogues gallery kind of thing. But I won't go into too much spoilers. I know some of the information's already leaked out anyway, but I won't give too much information there. It's a good. It's not one you want to have spoiled as well. That's why I'm not even gonna like give you anything away because it will ruin it. Because I liked kind of like seeing this film for the first time and like rewatching it. I don't know. I might not enjoy it as much because the mystery is quite good because there's a lot of plot twists where you think, oh, they're gonna go there, are they? and then they'll be like, well, that is true, but there's a little bit of the story there that kind of fundamentally swings things. So someone that you think is a bad guy technically did do something bad, but they didn't do it for bad reasons. They did it for good reasons, and they kind of fucked up. So yeah, little things like that. And it was very good. The actors are very good. Andy Serkis was very good in this as Alfred. What else? Zoe Kravitz, yeah, like I said, as Catwoman, she was decent as well. She's fit as well. Frankie was quite taken by her. He made it be. He made us aware of that. No. But yeah, but no, definitely best actor in it, best character is definitely Penguin. He's not in it as much as I kind of hoped he would be. But yeah. He's kind of a weird character as well, because obviously he's like old and sort of like out of shape, but he's got this. Obviously, he's Colin Farrell under there, and he's not old and out. Well, he's old, I suppose, but older and out. He's not out of shape, so he kind of carries himself as like somebody that's actually a lot physically like stronger and fitter than he actually is. Kind of like when you see. Well, like if you see somebody in like a fat suit that isn't fat, you can tell by the way that they move that's the case. A bit like Toph when he's shoplifting and he like scrambles out of there. It's like, somebody his size should be able to do that. But then again, it kind of made it like pretty cool because it gave him like a bit of an edge to him. When he's like really sort of animated in a way that you wouldn't normally see somebody like that. They'd usually be a bit kind of slower and not carry themselves with that level of energy if they were that kind of size and age.
Is this just a dig at me for being only partially animated?
Yeah, that's it. That's where I was going with that.
But no, anyway, back to the film. I say the only thing I've heard about it, which might be considered a spoiler, is that it's kind of got a bit of a like the long Halloween kind of.
Yes.
That you're kind of going for that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, only a little bit. It's not a long Halloween movie, but it's definitely because it starts out that way. Like there's like a diary entry in it. It's got a bit of a film noir kind of thing. Not to sound pretentious, but it does. And he's narrating, and I think the first diary entry that he does is October 31st. And there's like again, not a spoiler, but there's a big finale at the end where like stuff's going down when like the grand scheme happens, and there's like an attack kind of thing. Some people are saying it's like, oh, it's a January 6th reference. It's like I'm pretty sure this was like well in production before that. Well, I know it was, but it's actually a November the 5th reference. Guy Fawkes, basically, it's like a nod to that because the day after that event happens is November 6th, so that's November 5th. So there's like a definite nod there to Guy Fawkes Night. You could kind of say V for Vendetta, but obviously that's based on Guy Fawkes as well, so you'd be going around in circles otherwise.
V for Buff Nutter.
Yeah, well, I'll cut it short anyway, but that was a few little points I was making because I did a non-spoiler video yesterday and I was still suffering from a hangover, I think, so I don't know if I got everything out that I wanted to say. But I definitely recommend watching it. Like I said, I'm only saying don't rush out to watch it because I know TV, you're not like a big cinema goer, so it's not something that I'm saying that this needs to be the film that snaps you out of that. Oh, well, I wouldn't, because it's 3 hours long. Just that alone would do your head in. But give it a watch when you get a chance to watch it at home anyway, because you will like it.
Yeah, like I say, that's always been my intention. Like, I'm not like, oh, I'm never seeing it. It's like I'm going to see it. I'm not in any rush to see it.
Yeah, it's a perfectly good film. Nothing bad to say about it. But yeah, I'll do a spoiler review, I think, on myself or by myself later in the week. I just need to kind of get a few thoughts together, that kind of thing, and maybe do that. So yeah, well, any other in-jokes to the buff before we go?
No, just asking what it's like at the Wailing Wall right now, like if it's there again.
Yeah, well, yeah, Buff, if you're watching this, we'll sort out a cinema trip soon. and we'll maybe even get the core. In fact, let's have a race. Who's going to return to the cinemas first? Will it be the core or will it be the buff? Right, my money's on the buff, to be honest. But
I mean, honestly, given there's fuck all that I'm looking forward to at the cinema,
the fair point.
Maybe Jurassic Park, maybe, but I'm not even that fussed about Jurassic Park, to be honest.
It's a fair point. Last film I went to see was Ghostbusters. That were back in November, and I consider myself like quite keen to get back into cinema, but there's just not been anything really of that I've wanted to watch. So to be fair, I'm on the same page as you. Anyway, I'll stop this recording because we're kind of going off on a tangent. But this is obviously the Brand X Reviews. You can like this video if we didn't put you to sleep, and subscribe and check back. And I'll probably do like a spoiler review at some point in the next week. Thank you.